Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about what future Marvel Legends could be coming on the X-Force retro card. We've already gotten Deadpool, but there's no way they made a whole retro card just for Deadpool. Although Deadpool's retro card is very unique, I think we're going to be seeing, and I think they've actually said that we're going to be seeing some more figures on the X-Force retro card. So we're going to give you what we expect to see as a six-figure wave. Before we do that, though, we need to go back and finish up a giveaway. So we did the Comic Capsule review, and within that Comic Capsule review, you had to leave a comment, and you got an extra comment or an extra entry if you did a certain phrase or whatever. We like to throw in bonus entries if you're watching the whole episode.
Little fun bonus entry there for you.
So we're going to be giving away a Conan the Barbarian #1. It's a 2024 issue. And then with that is going to be a Comic Capsule. They are the sponsor of today's episode. So thank you to Comic Capsule and whoever is the winner here. Make sure you thank them. If you are not the winner, though, we have other opportunities for you to win a Comic Capsule with various comics inside of that capsule. Go back and check those episodes out. We have one giveaway left on Strong Collectors, but then there are two on Strong Collector Comics. So if you're not subscribed over there, go do that so you can get the entries in. And then now, without any further ado, Jordan, let's get the wheel a spinning. All right, so we've got, this is one of our smallest ever pools of candidates to win. So if you did enter to win this one, you've got a pretty high chance. So here we go. Drum roll, please. The runner-up is Scott Reads Comics 148. So make sure you send us an email. I'll have that down below, but it's strongcollectors@gmail.com. And then if the winner does not claim their prize within 7 days, then it goes to the runner-up, which is Scott Reads Comics 148. Now for the winner. Is Dante's Toys. So make sure both of you send us an email. If the winner does not reach out within 7 days, it goes to the runner-up, just like with all of our giveaways. And that's how we'll do the other giveaways for the Comic Capsules as well. Remember, Comic Capsules helps to keep your comics safe and protected. Maybe you don't want to get them graded. Maybe you still want to read your comic books, but you want to keep them nice and pristine. Comic Capsules are perfect for that because they have the flip top. You can add in a new comic. For Jordan and I, we like to display our comics with our figures. So we switch out our comics pretty regularly with our displays. We don't have a ton of room. They've got the UV protection, protects you from the sunlight. We're in those small apartments. We don't have a lot of options. And they're super easy to mount to the wall. They were designed for it. So a lot of great display options for these, or you can just keep your comics safe. So, Jordan, let's get into X-Force and what we think we could be seeing as a possible Marvel Legends X-Force retro card wave. Now, X-Force, you can't really think of X-Force, I think anyway, without thinking of Cable. So
I absolutely agree, Dakota.
It seems like we should have Cable in this wave.
Yeah, and I think this would be a very specific kind of Cable for me. I think it'd be that very 90s, which people kind of, make fun of a little bit now. Legends has kind of done it, but the super pouch version, where he's big. I'd love to see him give him just a giant gun, like just huge. Probably wouldn't be as huge as it should be, but you know what I'm talking about. And he's got pouches everywhere. That kind of style, as opposed to what we're getting coming up, kind of that more simplified version of Cable, which for me I prefer, but I get it. There's a very specific version of Cable from this era that I think people would be pretty excited to get a updated version of, because I've had that older one, I think, in a lot or at some point. Wasn't great, but I think they could do some cool updates and make an X-Force version that would look even really cool just in the retro card, I think.
Yeah. And I think if they could do, I don't know, maybe I'm getting a little too hopeful here, but if they could do butterfly joints for Cable with his giant weapons, that would be a nice touch. If we could get it, I don't know, because I do want it to be something, because it is going to be a pretty close redo of the Sasquatch Wave one.
Mm-hmm.
but I think they could give him the upgrades that make it worth it. And then, like you said, it's a retro, X-Force backing, so it's going to be pretty cool to just leave displayed as is, and I think that'll look super cool next to Deadpool if you had him in box
Oh
or out
yeah.
of box even.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another one I was thinking, I don't know what costume they would use specifically, but I think Domino is another
Mm-hmm.
mainstay in the X Force.
Yeah.
Think because she looks kind of like the 3-pack X Force that we'd gotten. So I
Yeah.
don't know if you'd go with more of just the kind of like black leather suit versus the whole like
Mm-hmm.
headgear thing. Because I
Yeah.
think that one's
Yeah.
cool, but it's in that 3-pack, and that 3-pack's not super easy to track down right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. Well, we talked. I'm trying to remember when we did our speculative on the super articulated Black
Mm,
Widow body, who would be coming. I don't remember if we talked about Domino. Maybe we did.
I think so.
We did. I thought so.
Y'all can go back and watch that episode and let us know.
Just a shameless plug for an old video for you to go back and watch. But it was a good video. But I think that would make sense to put her on that body. Give her a couple different weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of a no-brainer for sure for a figure in the X-Force wave.
Mm-hmm. I think another one that people have been screeching for at the top of their lungs for so long, and I think the retro card is the place to do it if you're going to do it anywhere, is to do finally a Marvel Legends Feral. We just got the Wolfsbane, which
Mm-hmm.
people had been screeching for equally as loud. But now I think the focus has shifted over to the other werewolf lady looking.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, that would make sense. Like you said, since it's on the retro card, I think that also might give it some more general sellability.
Yeah, sellability.
It'd be easier to sell, I think, if it's on the retro card, is what I'm saying. Um, but I think that one would make sense too.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely need the like
Wolfsbane.
unique head sculpt. I think you would do
Yeah.
pretty much everything. I mean, maybe the legs could be the same, but really, because she's got kind of more of the like shoulder padded, or maybe it's not shoulder pads, but it's more angular
Yeah.
costume, and then her hair is a lot
Mm-hmm.
more crazy and
Right.
bigger. Everything was bigger in the 90s, man.
That's right, man. The hair, the weapons, the
Yeah.
robot arms, all of it. One figure, Dakota, that I had mentioned on our X-Men retro card prediction video, I think would actually fit in a little bit better here, and that would be Marrow. I do think Marrow's a cool character. I know you had mentioned a lot about liking Spike in X-Men Evolution, which was sort of their reinterpretation of that character. I always thought she was a cool character, though, and really hasn't gotten a chance to come into the Legends line. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that actually makes a lot of sense now that I'm thinking about it, and would fit in better if they're going to do this like a specific line with these characters.
Mm-hmm. Very true. And I think, I don't know, maybe I should have mentioned this earlier, but we are trying to pick, these are all from the old, like the actual retro
Mm-hmm.
wave that they had done. I think they did 6 waves, which I was kind of surprised that they had that many waves of the X-Force
Mm-hmm.
figures. And there's a lot of them in there that like I would like to have, but they just don't seem likely. Like I would love if they would make a Grizzly. Yeah, that's his name, right? Grizzly. Don't know who that
I think so.
is, but he looks awesome, and I want him. So
Right. Yeah, even Grizzly might be too much of a deep cut, but
right.
maybe if they're scraping the barrel after they do a couple.
I was gonna say we just tried to make these like kind of realistic, where it's we've gotten most of we have never gotten Feral, but we've
Mm-hmm.
gotten most of these before. Marrow's a new one, but that's the way that this usually goes. Is you're never
Mm-hmm.
going to get an entire wave of brand new, never before seen figures and new tooling and all that. So
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to rein it in a little bit. We're getting some new figures, some redos, maybe some
Yeah.
upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that we've never had before in Marvel Legends that I think has been a little bit more popular now recently, so it would make sense, is Exodus. That was another one that I had said on
Mm-hmm.
the X-Men retro card, but it would make a lot of sense to put him on this X-Force retro card.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, because you need to probably mix it up with some bad guys, right?
mm-hmm.
So
I think
I think we also had talked about the Gideon idea, didn't we? Mention him as a
Yeah.
potential, do you think? Or is that.
I th-
I know he factored into a lot of those early. Factored. Pun intended.
oh,
No, not pun
he X
intended.
factored in.
That's yeah, X factored in into those earlier books. So I mean, I guess it depends how much they're leaning into the
Hmm.
actual like retro early first appearance, like of the team type stuff. But I think it makes sense to have at least one or two bad guys, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think with the Spider-Man retro cards, it seems like they're kind of doing 3 and 3 for the most part, like 3 heroes, 3 villains.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they necessarily have to do that here, but I don't know. It almost would make sense if they filled out more of X Force themselves versus some of the
Mm-hmm.
villains, because I don't know that they have like that many like iconic. This is the only
Right.
they only fight X Force versus the rest of the
Right.
X Men, because Juggernaut's going to fight everybody, and
Yeah.
Black Tom Cassidy is kind of fighting everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But Gideon does seem very specific to X Force, so that's where I
Mm-hmm.
think he actually could. He's not a part of our 6, but I think he almost should be. So you could kind of
Mm.
swap him out with maybe. I don't think you could swap out Cable, but you could maybe swap out Domino or this
What
last one
about
that we have
Marrow?
on the list. I mean, you can't drop a cool character though.
I
Like I'm
think
saying, we
Marrow's
should
cool.
drop a.
We're saying like if we were making it or what we think would happen.
Well, maybe what we think would happen. I guess.
Okay. That's
I
that's where
guess
I'm
there's
saying it's
some
more
hopes
likely.
in here
But
too. There's a little hope and dream to it.
I know. I'm just saying Marrow, I think they'd have to shell out a little bit to do some new
Yeah,
sculpting for that. That I don't know if they'd be willing to.
for
It'd be
sure.
cool. Certainly be cool.
Yeah, I mean that is
I don't know.
probably true. The last one that we have on our official 6 in this card in the retro carded wave would be Shatterstar, because that's
Mm-hmm.
another one that we've had before, but like you said, you could Rob Lightfeld it up a little bit with some more pouches, bigger shoulder pads, stuff
Right.
like that.
Well, newer articulation too. I think they could
Yeah,
because he was back in Warlock, right? So I mean that's been
yeah.
several years. I
Hmm.
don't think they'd like do. I don't know. I guess it depends. I'm not sure what the financial projection is for them on how much they want to put into X Force, but I think you
True.
could update him a little bit, kind of like when they did the newer long shot. I think was cool to see like
Hmm.
getting those. I don't know. I just think you give them some cool swords,
Hmm.
some cool new sculpts, give them those butterfly joints, articulation and stuff. I think would be pretty sweet to see.
Yeah. So our official list that we think is maybe possible is
Mm-hmm.
Cable, Domino, Feral, Exodus, Marrow, and Shatterstar. I think Gideon could be worked in there.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope Grizzly. I don't even know if I'm saying the name right. It's big red dude with, I think he's got giant guns like Cable.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know who it is, but I want him. And there's obviously other ones too, like you and I kind of talked about, maybe Warpath, but I think
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of
Yeah.
so cheap in the secondary market that it kind of doesn't make sense. Unless they were going to do
Yeah.
Warpath in his like more modern X Force look, but that doesn't really make
Mm-hmm.
sense with the rest of this wave that we're creating.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think they would. I really think they'd stick to that actual retro
Hmm.
aesthetic. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
I
Dakota, they
agree.
did have Cannonball, I think, on that old team. I know you're always harping on how Cannonball will never sell, but there's quite a few
I mean,
commenters that think you're wrong.
yeah, I looked him up, and the 3-pack version of him does go for like $50. So
So
I
you
was
never
shocked by
know.
that, but he could.
We could see
Um,
Cannonball, and
Maybe
that'd probably be his
Richter.
time to shine. Oh yeah,
Yeah, because he was kind of locked behind that 3-pack.
that's what I'm saying. Is that would make sense if they're bringing in some of those characters that like for that because you've
Mhm.
gotten him before, but they're like we might as well put him out. But he's on a retro card this time, which
Right.
is kind of lame. But I think there are a lot of people that would be happy about that.
Hmm. Yeah, and I
So,
mean, some people just love the retro cards regardless. So,
mm-hmm.
and that's usually even inbox collector, or yeah, or no, even loose collectors will sometimes collect the
Mm-hmm.
retro cards just to keep on the retro card and display that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, and some people will do the one to rock and one to stock, or one to display loose, one to display sealed. So This, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know when this wave is coming because it's not a part of
Hmm.
any leaks lists, but I'm like 99% sure that Ryan, Dan, or Dwight, one of them has said, like, we could definitely do
Yeah.
more on this retro card, so keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
So, some hopes and dreams in there, but I think it's realistic. Maybe I don't know, because we want new tooling on Cable. We're asking, it's not really new tooling, but it's, we want the super articulated domino.
Right.
Feral would be pretty new. Exodus would be new.
Hmm.
Marrow would be pretty new. So maybe
We'll
we're
see.
kind of reaching for the stars here a
But if
little
it
bit.
does
Is that what it is?
happen,
Reaching for the stars?
yeah. But if it does happen,
Seems like, I don't know.
you heard it first here. So
True. That's going to do it for this episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. We are going to be doing an upcoming episode where we're going to be ranking or rating some of our viewers' displays. So if you would like to send us your display that you have, kind of like Jordan and I have in the background of our videos here, you can send those either on Instagram or Strong Collectors. So it's the same logo or same profile picture here and there. Or you can send an email to us, send us your pictures there to strongcollectors@gmail.com. And then we'll add that into our ranking video. That's going to be sometime in early June. So try to send us those quickly so I can kind of put that episode together. That'd be a fun one. Until next time, make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing, and stay strong.